Right, so hey guys, Antonio here and welcome to 60SecTech. Today we're talking about CRI values, LED lights, what are they, should you care about them? Let's start the video.
I won't forget your last betray. I'll never forget this day.
So in the past, the only type of light that existed were incandescent or tungsten light. Those are the light bulbs that have the wire running through them, so you would let electricity run through it, the wire would heat up and emit light. That wire is made of tungsten, and when electricity flows through it, it gets really warm. When it heats up, it emits light at all frequencies, at all wavelengths in the visible spectrum, and that's going to be important in just a second. Let's explain how we see things and how we perceive color. For example, let's take this pack of tissues. We see this part as blue, this part as white, and this part as red. But why do we see it like that? So the light comes from the source, ideally the sun. The whole spectrum of visible light hits the object. The object, for example, this part, absorbs all of the visible light except for blue, which gets reflected into our eyes and we see blue. The white part, which reflects all of the visible spectrum, and the red part, which reflects all of the light except for the red one. That's how we perceive colors, by reflection. The whole spectrum of light hits an object, the object absorbs some of that light and reflects the other part. The reflected light is the one that we see and we perceive as colors. Now this may sound a bit complicated, but I'm going to have photos over the video showing you a bit more practically what that means. Nowadays, aside from tungsten lights, we have a whole range of other options, mainly LED lights, which are the main topic of this discussion. LED lights are both great and bad depending on what point of view you have. Now, they're great from the point of view that they're very power friendly, that don't use a lot of electricity, so they're eco-friendly and they last a very long time. But from another point of view, LED lights are made to satisfy a specific need. The fact that they are made for a specific need is also a bad thing, because if you're using a light that isn't made for the type of application that you're using it for, it's not going to be right for you. So let's talk about CRI now. CRI stands for Color Rendering Index. The CRI is the measure of the ability of the light to reveal the true colors of an object in comparison to natural lighting. So for example, if you have an object like this one, which is colorful, which has some yellows, reds and whites and so on, if you took it outside, you would say, oh, this is yellow, this is red, this is white, and that's it. But if you took it under lighting conditions that are not ideal, under a light that doesn't emit the whole spectrum of visible light, you wouldn't be able to have that reflected light to perceive this as yellow, this as red, and this as white. So for example, you take this outside where the sun emits the whole range of visible light and you perceive this normally. But then you take it inside in conditions where the light that you're using to illuminate this object doesn't, for example, emit red light. If the red light doesn't get emitted from the light source, it cannot hit the object and it cannot get reflected into your eyes, which means you cannot perceive this as red. It's scary, I know. So CRI is basically a percentage. The higher the percentage, the more realistic colors look. The higher the percentage of the emission of light from the light source that covers the wider range of the visible spectrum. So basically, if you have a 95% rated CRI LED light, which that means is that the light is going to emit 95% of visible colors, which means that you're going to be able to perceive 95% of the colors that you would perceive if you took the item under the sun, for example. Now to the important part of the video. Why should you care about it and what are the CRI value implications? For example, LED lights are getting used more and more often in households and in photography or video studios, and that's a really important thing. Because, for example, if you're living in a house that's really colorful, but you have a light that doesn't emit all those colors, you're not going to be able to see all of those colors in your home, and your home is going to look very gray and very unsaturated and very depressing in a way, which has a really big implication on your mood and how you perceive things around you. Now, from a photography/videography point of view, you need to use high CRI value lights to film and take photos of stuff, because later in post-production, when you go to edit those videos or those photos and you want to bring up all of those colors and you want to color correct or color grade your footage or photos, you're not going to be able to if you used a lower CRI valued light. Because if that light didn't emit all of the lights from the visible spectrum, that light didn't hit the object and didn't get reflected into the camera, and the camera didn't register it. And if the camera didn't register it, you cannot bring it up in post-processing, and that's a very important thing. So basically, TLDR, high CRI value lights give you the ability to bring up colors back in post-production. They give you the possibility to play with your footage or with your photos and to make them look how you wanted them to look. So if you were to take only one thing from this whole video, take this. The CRI value of the light that you're buying is very important, whether you're buying it for your household or for your recording needs. So just when you're buying a LED light, take a look at the CRI value. If you find lights that are 90 or 95 plus, ideally, that's great. That means that it's going to cover most of the visible light range and you're going to have a good time using that light, whether in your house or for filming and taking photos. So that's basically it, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe, like, comment, buy a shirt if you want. We have some cool shirts. And that's it. Enjoy the rest of this video, which is not going to be very long. You can check out my other videos. This video is made because I'm going to review a very good LED light in the future. And that's it. I have 16 more seconds, 14 of this recording, and that's it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, over.